So yes, indeed, we are here on the Savannah River. Now, occasionally we do get people that come on board that maybe just got to town, all exciting, get enough sleep last night, or had a cocktail or two to start the day. They think they're on the Mississippi River. You're not on the Mississippi River. That is 420 miles west of us, where we are here in the beautiful state of Georgia. Now, the Savannah itself, it's a little over 300 miles long. Starts up in Lake Hartwell, Georgia, runs through Augusta, where they just finished playing the Masters tournament, right through Savannah and out to the Atlantic Ocean, which is about 16 miles behind us. Now, the Savannah River is somewhat of a natural dividing line between Georgia and South Carolina. Except for this part of the river, we of course have downtown Savannah off to our left or port side, off to our right or starboard side. This is Hutchinson Island, Georgia. We'll talk more about Hutchinson Island during the trip. Now, the Savannah River is brackish, means it is a combination of salt and fresh water. It also is tidal. It does rise and fall several times a day. We'll talk more about those tides during the trip as well. Now, if you look at the Savannah River, it has a greenish, murky look to it. This is that color because it's necessarily dirty by any means. It's actually quite clean. It's abundant in lots of different organisms and nutrients, so it gives it that concentrated, cloudy, full look. If you're looking for those nice, clear, blue Caribbean waters in the deep south, you're not going to find that in the Savannah River. With that nutrient-rich water, it does bring some wildlife to our area. So a few things to keep an eye out for as we go up and down the river this afternoon. You do see some shorebirds, brown pelicans, egrets. Sometimes we're lucky enough to see a bald eagle. Typically we see those further downriver. We do see manatees stick their head or tail up occasionally out of the river. Sometimes we're asked, do you actually have sharks here? We most definitely do, but a smaller variety of shark. Nothing like a great white, but we do get bull sharks that can get up to 10 feet long. On Hutchinson Island, it is very marshy, somewhat of a natural habitat for the American alligator. Once in a while they make their way out in the river in search of food. Kind of a fun fact, there's actually only two places in the world where alligators exist, and we actually know where. Water and land. No place you're going to find an alligator, folks. Everything to keep an eye out for. This is not SeaWorld. That is my disclaimer. I certainly cannot promise or guarantee anything. You sometimes see Atlantic bottlenose dolphins on these trips. You guys see something that resembles the dorsal fin of a dolphin. Shout out, let us know. I may not necessarily be the first person on board to spot one, so let us know if you guys see anything. So I said this river is tidal. It does rise and fall anywhere from right around 8 to 10 feet about every 6 hours and 15 minutes. Very important, we have some very, very large ships that go up and down this river. Those big ships obviously need some water depth beneath them. They do dredge this river. They do maintain that depth to a minimum of at least 47 foot when we're at low tide. If they did not dredge this river, it would only go 10 feet deep. Now, some of the largest ships that we have in our port can draw anywhere up to 45 foot of water, which means 45 foot of that ship is beneath the surface. Does not give them much room beneath them, especially when they're at low tide. Ships have another obstacle. We're just about to pass underneath in the next minute. The Eugene Talmadge Bridge ahead of us has a clearance of 185 feet underneath when we're at high tide. Some of these very large container ships that we have can be up to 190 feet tall. Well, how's that supposed to work? They just time it right so that tide's down a few feet so they can fit under this bridge. Definitely a little too close for comfort, especially on those larger ships when we're at a higher tide. If you look beyond the Talmadge Bridge off either side, you will see the supports for an older bridge. The bridge was built in the 1950s at a clearance of 136 feet underneath. As ships started to get bigger and bigger, finally the underside of the bridge was struck. Savannah had a decision to make, build a bigger bridge, or just get out of the whole shipping industry altogether. So built the Talmadge Bridge above us in the early 1990s. The same scenario, as time keeps going on, these ships are getting larger and larger in size. Looking at several different options to accommodate those ships. First, we're actually looking at raising this bridge up by about 20 feet by incrementally adjusting the cables. Very simple way of putting that, quite an engineering feat to actually watch that occur. Eventually, I'd like to replace that bridge with a new, taller one, or perhaps do away with a bridge and put a tunnel underneath the river. Estimating either those two last options I mentioned, whichever they decide to go, cost nearly $3 billion. Seems like an awful lot of money to spend on a new bridge or on a tunnel just to accommodate some bigger ships in our port. They figure for every dollar they spend on the ports in Savannah, about a $7 return on that dollar. Fastest growing port you'll find in the entire country. If you heard me mentioning the opening spiel, Savannah is the third busiest shipping port in the country. First, you'd have Long Beach, LA, by far and away the biggest port, followed by New York, Newark. As Savannah combined with Brunswick, our sister port, about an hour to the south at number 3. I just moved here about 6 years ago and definitely surprised me.